Hi. A couple days ago I recorded and uploaded a song onto YouTube. A song that I heard in my dreams, and it dawned on me that it may be somewhat remarkable to some of you that I hear music in my dreams that I, can actually reproduce in waking life. And this is due to a couple of things. I mean, basically I'm just going to talk about my personal dream experience and just talk about dreams in general. I find them, the dream world, rather fascinating. So I'll start by talking about lucid dreaming. If you don't know what lucid dreaming is, it's when you are in a dream and you realize that you're in a dream, and effectively you become awake in the dream, and you can make choices about what you want to do next, what you want to say, where you want to go, which is pretty cool. Because in the dream world you can do whatever you want. Well, there are limits to it, and I'll address that. But that's the basic rundown of what lucid dreaming is. So a lot of people want to know, how do I do it? How do you lucid dream? So I'll talk about how I achieved it, and I'll talk about some of the other ways that other people have achieved it. I want to point out really quickly, because it's kind of interesting, I'll say it again and again, people are so individual in their dream experiences, and they're so individual, in fact, that some people lucid dream every single time without trying from birth. And that's a really interesting thing. I don't know. I have met people like that, and they were perhaps, maybe above average intelligence, but they weren't like prodigies or anything. They weren't significantly different than any other sort of like American kid, that I would normally run across. So that's kind of interesting. So how did I start lucid dreaming? Well, I was inspired by the film Waking Life. If you haven't seen this film, I mean, it's really pretty cool. It's pretty trippy. Anyways, I watched that film maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago or something like that, and it got me thinking about lucid dreaming, because the main character in the film is a lucid dreamer. Anyways, the method that I used is I began dream journaling, because I kind of Googled it, how do you lucid dream? And one of the ways was dream journaling. I already had an interest in dream journaling because I had some cool dreams, and I was like, man, I wish I would write that down. And then when I realized that it could possibly allow me to lucid dream, I started doing it really intensely. It's not something that I do all the time. It's more like, it's something that comes and goes. But a few times in my life, I have spent months at a time writing down every single dream, every time. A lot of people say, I can't remember my dreams. Well, what I would, because I don't remember them either. I'll talk about that not remembering dreams in a second, but basically I wrote down every single dream I had the moment I woke up every single day. So that was how I was able to remember them. And that's basically the only way I was able to remember them, because I found my experience is that with many dreams, if you are not mentally focused on them and or writing them down within 10 seconds of waking up from them, you will forget them. So I keep the notebook by my bed and just record them immediately. And this would oftentimes mean, you know, flicking on the light at like 4 a.m. as soon as I woke up from a dream, writing it down, going back to bed, maybe waking up another 3 or 4 times before actually getting up to, you know, start my day, writing down the dreams every time. After a couple, I don't know how long I did that for the first time, probably at least a few months. But then, you know, one day I was in a dream and I was in a hotel room with 2 really pretty girls, and they were undressing, and it kind of dawned on me that I was in a dream. and that was my first lucid dream experience. It was a sexual one, and I proceeded to have a number of sexual lucid dreams. I also did, you know, because that's kind of like one of the classic things that people will do in lucid dreams, but it goes much deeper than that, is what I found over the years. Another early lucid dream that I had was flying. Yeah, flying. I mean, of course, who doesn't want to fly, right? And that kind of brings me up to the issue when I was saying that there are actually still certain limitations in lucid dreams as far as what you can actually do. This experience of flying is a very, very good example. I'm sure there's a lot of other examples. One is talking. Sometimes even when I'm lucid dreaming, I can't talk, and I'm like, whoa! I'm like trying to yell at someone, but no sound comes out. But one experience flying that I've heard this from a number of lucid dreamers. We've all had the same experience with flying, which is that yes, it is possible to fly, but you have to work for it. In the film Waking Life, when the character decides to fly in his lucid dreams, you see it's really beautiful. Actually, he just kind of all of a sudden he realizes he's in a dream, and he just goes and just starts floating up to the sky. This is not my experience with flying in a lucid dream, and this is not the experience of other lucid dreamers I have spoken to. Our experience is more like if you want to fly, you have to run and jump and like flap your arms in order to fly. I'm not sure, and my experience too is I could jump and glide very high in the air for extended periods of time, but I would eventually sink, and then I would have to jump back up to continue flying. So I have yet to personally speak with anyone who can just sort of, in a lucid dream, can just sort of do anything. My experience is that I can control myself in the lucid dream, but sort of only to the extent that I could control myself in waking life. You know, it's not like if this was a dream, if I was in a dream right now, I could not just turn around, snap my fingers, and and be at somewhere else. That's kind of, yeah, and I've heard that from other people too. It's really difficult to just change locations. You have to travel there, basically.